Which way are the winds blowing here? Is Amazon going to have to pay a big fine like Google did?
We don't know yet. This is early days. I mean, Vestager was very careful to say that they're just looking at what Amazon is doing. Amazon's a platform. Amazon competes with and also offers a place for these smaller sellers to put their products out to the world. We had a little more detail in a story we just put out today, saying, for example, that they're going to look at how products that Amazon sells itself, like Amazon Basics, how those work against small sellers, basically how it works, how things compete online on Amazon's platform. Are they playing fair or not?
Well, we don't know yet about what kind of penalty there might be if there is a penalty, but what are the chances that Amazon could be forced to change its business practices in the EU, especially given that Google has been ordered to do so as well?
Well, as I said, because we're in the early stages of this, we're waiting to see whether there are big problems that the EU thinks it needs to jump on. If it does, it'll open another probe, and at that point, the risks become higher. You can see then they feel that there's something going wrong there, that there's something that they need to investigate. And at that point, we're on the fine track. You look at what precise market they're looking at. It's very hard to assess any kind of potential fine right now. I mean, if you're looking at with the Google fine, for example, they picked a small market, but because it was European-wide, the fines really rolled up, and we were looking at 6.7 billion euros. I mean, there was one fine this summer already, $5 billion. So these things can roll and become very big, but we're not quite on that track right now with Amazon.
President Trump has not been shy about his feelings about Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos and tangentially Amazon itself. What are the chances that the scrutiny in Europe could spread to the United States?
I think that's really a question for the US. I mean, the market shares that some of these companies have, Google in particular in Europe, are much higher. So there is more competition in search. So in some ways, some of these issues are specific to Europe, and the behavior that the EU will look at are European issues. But yes, I can definitely see in the US there's a lot of interest in what the EU is doing. I mean, America is the home of antitrust, and it's interesting to see how these cases are going on slightly separate tracks, that the EU is jumping on these problems, and the US so far hasn't. Doesn't mean it won't, but it's just interesting to see what your neighbors are doing sometimes. Why are they going down that path? And when we see Vestager speaking here in Washington or in New York, she's very much trying to explain why she wants to take these cases. And that's a message that some people might pick up on.